Welcome to my next thought for the day in this series based on the mnemonic Great Dream, which helps us to remember the 10 keys to happiness. Well done if you've stuck with it thus far. We're on number 9 today, and we're going to be looking at the letter A from the word dream, which talks about acceptance, more specifically self-acceptance. On the Actions to Happiness website, they say this: no one is perfect. Learning to accept ourselves, warts and all, and being kinder to ourselves when things go wrong increases our enjoyment of life, our resilience and our well-being. It also helps us accept others as they are. Constantly beating ourselves up and not accepting ourselves when we get things wrong is a sure way to be unhappy. Albert Ellis, who is a renowned psychologist, described 2 choices. He says we can accept ourselves conditionally, in other words, only under certain conditions, for example, when we succeed or get something right, or we can accept ourselves unconditionally. In other words, under all circumstances, we still accept ourselves. He goes on to say this. He says the first choice is deadly. If we don't fulfill the conditions we set ourselves and so fail, we think of ourselves as a loser or good for nothing, rather than accepting ourselves for who we are, rather than accepting ourselves that even though sometimes we will fail, we all fail in fact, that is just a normal part of life. He says if we're low on self-acceptance, we can be troubled by aspects of who we think we are and long to be something or someone different. And this can lead to dwelling more on what's wrong with us and what we aren't, leading to a lot of negative self-talk. And this can really get in the way of making the most of ourselves and our happiness. Now, what Albert Ellis says, has to say rather, reminds me of some other words, and you can guess from where. The Bible is full of texts reminding us that God accepts us. In fact, more than that, He delights in us just for who we are. Right from the very beginning in the creation story in Genesis, God calls us very good. Go back and look at that creation story at the very beginning of the Bible if you don't believe me. After He's created human beings, He says they were very good. And that's before we've even done anything. We are very good. We can get tied up in knots when we lose sight of the extravagant, unconditional love that God has for us. Not because of what we do, but simply for who we are. He delights in us. He accepts us. And so who are we to then refuse to accept ourselves? Now, of course, that doesn't mean that we don't struggle with our imperfections. When I get things wrong or I hurt someone else, I can easily, if I'm not careful, go down the road of self-condemnation, and that isn't helpful. But what is helpful is being able to acknowledge my imperfection, to own it, but to do so in the light of the truth that I am loved and delighted in. And then being willing to say sorry, to repent, and to seek ways to change. So my question for you is, do you love and accept yourself as a beloved child of God? That is who you are. Deep down, that is the truth of who you are. A beloved child of God, who, yes, surprise, surprise, isn't perfect. Join the club. And yet, you're a beloved child of God who is delighted in How about over this next week and beyond, you put some reminders to yourself around the house, stick some things on the mirror, or put a reminder in your mobile phone. I don't know, whatever's going to work for you, wherever you're going to see those reminders. Put something by the kettle. But reminders that simply say, I am a beloved child of God and he delights in me. If God delights in you and accepts you for who you are, then surely the call is for you to do the same for yourself. And along the way, know that it's one of the keys to improving our well-being. God bless you.